all booking ticket. We're all booking tickets to Indiana now.
I wish. I wish I could get a nice shayash of pepper over there.
Where? What are you talking about?
Who just said that? Oh, the magazine article in Mishpacha this week.
Is it just me that can't hear him, or is everybody?
No, I hear him. They had an article in Mishpacha last week about out-of-town communities, and Mr. Springer was the spokesperson for Indiana.
I actually read that.
Good. No, I mean, no, not good. You're a mevatel Torah for such shtus. I don't understand.
It's a good article.
I was just saying to Napoleon David that I wish I could get a shayash of cover over here. There's so lit fish over here. I need some vorm cake.
It's mamish lit fish over there.
It's Lakewood Light over here.
You didn't write that in the article.
Well, I'm changing it a bit, but whatever.
So Yaakov,
Yeah.
you'll excuse me, but it's your oilum over here. Remember years ago, my Zevi said to me, he says, Abba, you're hanging around with Moshe Dov too much. You're becoming such a litvak.
Yeah. I could hear that. Yep. You gotta have a nice balance. That's
Obviously, yes.
not a lot of people don't go with that.
We know that.
Listen, you want to hear something? Parrots, we're recording. All right, we'll say it anyways. So this morning I texted out about how you shouldn't, if you live in a community that doesn't wear shorts and things that you shouldn't. Somebody on one of the shiurim on Zoom, I won't say who, what, said that his daughter went to camp. They went on a boating trip. You can't even make this up. Simon, this is for you, Simon. You can't even make this up. They went on a boating trip.
I'm listening. I'm listening with bated breath.
They went on a boating trip and they announced to the girls that, that whoever, if you have a sunburn above the elbows, you will not get any creams or anything to help the sunburn because your arms should have been covered to the elbows. How's that?
It's mamish. It's an addition to the Sarah Malchius. It's mamish.
Total chesed.
Yeah, I love it. Yep. You gotta love it, right? I mean, that's unbelievable.
It's not normal. Who's this? I mean, someone should.
I don't know what the
people
camp
that run
is.
the camp. They should write a letter to the camp.
Vicious.
I mean, it's
Please repeat the detail. I missed what you just said.
Oh, Aaron Swag, this is also
No,
for you.
you have to come on time to share.
I was on time. My system faded out just as he started saying the important part of the
Maybe no, you know why, Aaron Swag, you know why? Because you're such a holy neshama. I think Hashem doesn't want to hear such stupidity. It's going to be matamtim your ways. It's going to be matamtim your holy
very good.
ways.
That's good for him, but I want to hear it.
Okay.
Definitely not MS anyway.
A girls' camp was on a trip, and they announced to the girls that any girl who has sunburn above their elbows will not get aloe or any cream to help, because that means they weren't being tznius.
I love it. It's gonna save you this guy right there.
Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable.
Well, what does that do with your tweet? I don't get the connection.
What?
What does that have to do with your tweet, though?
Because today's tweet, that even men have to cover their elbows if you're in a community that normally covers their elbows in short. That's all.
I know. I was in Monroe for sure.
The point was really that men also have a din tznius. It's not just women. That's the point.
Got it.
All right.
Reb Aaron, your impersonator was nifted today.
Yeah, I know.
Who's that?
ZZ Top.
Dusty Hill.
Oh, Is that what
Yeah.
Avi sent me a picture of?
Yeah, that's
That-
Dusty Hill, yeah.
Yeah,
I had
we
no
don't know
idea
what
what
Avi
Oh,
that
you
was.
should
know,
post in the group
Ryan,
a
Ryan, I meant to call
split
you.
picture.
Parrots,
the
you have
picture
to
between the two.
Parrots, you have to start ticking.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be back. I'm very busy right now.
Rebecca, you don't have to tell
Something they
parrots
send me-
You
twice.
understand? I gotta fill the
What?
bottle now.
Yaakov, what?
No, Avi Sunday sent me this picture. He says, "Doesn't this look? Who does this look like?" I said, "I got it," but I said, "I have no idea what the shot." I thought he just came
Yeah.
across it on the internet, but I guess
No,
it was
he
in Yonah
died.
D'Yoyim.
He died last night. Dusty Hill.
Ah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Mr. Yaakov. The people call me ZZ Top. It's from him.
yeah, I never even heard of it. I heard of
It's,
ZZ
it's
Top. I never
okay.
saw-
It's okay. It's okay. You're missing out. You're missing out on a lot of things. You also you don't have any sunburn above your elbow, so you're missing lots of things.
One second. Naftali Liner, you're really incognito there. Nobody can tell you're a Yid. Hey, look at him. I tell you. She.
I'm trying to find a place to sit down.
Yeah, if it's a Yankee cap, then for sure he's a
No, it's an Under Armour, even
I'm
better.
trying to find.
No, they
Oh,
wouldn't think
Taka
you.
Napoli at Slocha tomorrow. The Tiskul the Mitzvahs.
I can't hear. I have no internet.
And yeah,
Very
Tiskul
much.
the Mitzvahs at Slocha. You should stay safe, Naftali.
Oh man.
Amen.
That's a big trip.
Everybody knew that.
Yeah. All right, we ready to roll?
I was just with Shalom. He says hello.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Do they have a Daf Yomi over there?
I believe they do. They're supposed to. I think they're
That's
supposed to have one.
30 miles in,
But I'm doing
Fiacco.
yours.
30 miles in with the
No, I
hula
think they're having one
dancers. They're gonna
tonight
have a
after
Daf
the pasta
Yomi shit.
party. I think they're having one. All right. Okay.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. Okay. Chafam Beis. So we started the mission of sleeping under the sukkah. Right. So we said that in order, basically the din is that if you have a sukkah and you sleep under a tent, so if the tent is its own rishus, then you're not sleeping in the sukkah, you're sleeping under the tent. Right? But if the tent is not its own rishus, then you're still sleeping in the sukkah. Yes, so that's what it said. So that's what we're talking about, where the bed is at least 10 tefachim high. Fine. Now the Gemara gets involved with hilchos oil. Like what's considered hilchos oil? What's considered an oil? So there's going to be a machlokes whether an oil can be something natural or it has to be something man-made. Yes, so Tanan Hassam, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up from the bottom of Chafam Beis. Yes, so Tanan Hassam, we learned over there Echad Chor Shecharu Mayim Ashratim. Right, whether we're talking about a hole that the water, if you have constant water flowing on something, so it's going to create a hole. So that's man-made. Ashratim or shratim make a hole. Achalasim melachas or salt. Salt makes things wear away. And then in all these scenarios, it's making a hole that could potentially be an oil. And a pile of stones, and inside, when you have a pile of stones, inevitably you're gonna have a hole in there. Savar shel kairos, and the same thing with when you put beams and wood together. So there's always not all wood is flat, so it has like warped. I don't know if it's warped is the right word. It's bent. So there's also natural holes. Ma'al ala tumah. So all of these things are oil on a tumah. Meaning, if there's a mace inside the hole, right, and at the other end there's a kli, so that kli is going to become tamei. If a person doesn't physically make the tent, then that's not an oil. Okay, so again, Machlokes Tanakama of Yehuda is over whether an oil that's formed by itself is really as a din of an oil or not.
True. Yaakov, when Makpid, kohanim especially shouldn't drive under the trees, let's say by Coney Island Avenue over there, or different places.
Right.
So who made the tree? The Rebbeinu Shalom or a guy?
And a halami, well, I hear what you're saying. Meaning, what happens? I mean, somebody had to plant the tree. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying for carrot. The Rebbeinu Shalom made it. We were mocked, but not to go under the trees. It's natural.
Yes, you're right. If you pass on like Rabbi, we don't pass on. As far as I know, we don't pass on like Rabbi Yehuda. But you're right. If you pass on like Rabbi Yehuda, then it would be no problem.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
that would be.
actually had a Misa today. I was walking down on 38th Street, and there was a lady. Everyone thought she was dead, and it was under an overhang. And I know it's a suffix for a guy. I thought maybe she's dead. Maybe it's an oil. So I walked around, but she was mamish under the over. Everyone was walking there, and I think she was dead. Everyone was like standing there looking at this, lifeless body. Whatever.
Serious?
Yeah, they're all over the place.
So if you held like Rabbi Yehuda, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
No Rabbi Yehuda, it's not a problem. Okay, so my time
think,
of Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah.
I think when Harold died on Purim, the Rosh Hashiva sent out all the kohanim.
Yeah.
Is Tumah
Even
by
though
a guy?
It's a machlokes if whether there's tumas oil by a guy. Yeah.
Yaakov, that's the
Yeah,
whole
definitely.
shiloh that people have with the overhangs by the hospitals and how they go
Correct.
in.
Correct. So it's more makel. Tumas oil is more makel because it's a machlokes.
Now, and I'm asking by a tree, who made the tree? From a Shamu people. Overhang people made the overhang.
Right. So if you went like Rabbi Yehuda, it wouldn't be a problem. Trees would not be a problem.
Doesn't someone
Anyway,
doesn't someone have to declare someone passed away before the tumas oil becomes an actual issue? If so, like Michael's example, he wasn't sure if someone was dead or not, but he avoided it anyway. But doesn't someone have to actually call the
l'chayra, if it's a suffix, then it would be a svek sveka. If it's a suffix dead, it'd be a svek sveka. And if you bring Rabbi Yehuda into the svek sveka.
What's a svek sveka?
A suffix whether a guy is metama oil, that's a machlokes. And it's a suffix whether the person was dead, and a suffix whether halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda and a tree is not mal. It doesn't make an oil.
If the person's dead.
But if he didn't know the person, that just looked like the person.
Why? He didn't know. Someone was lying on the ground. He had no idea.
He didn't know. The person could have just passed out. All right. Okay, so let's see about this. So my time is Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda hold that it needs to be natural? So Yolef oil me Mishkan. He learns out the words oil from Mishkan. It says a person dies in oil. By Yifrosh. As a Yifrosh, as oil ala Mishkan, he spreads out the oil on the Mishkan. The Mishkan was covered by man-made things. Afkan b'dei adam. So to here, we're talking about when there's a tumas oil, it's only talking about when it was man-made. What are Rabbanan going to do with this Gezer Shava? Rabbanan oil riba. No, the word oil is a riba. It comes to include, right? So it's coming to include even things made naturally. Then the Gemara asks, Rabbi Yehuda, kol oil shein asi b'dei adam eino oil. Does Rabbi Yehuda really hold that a man-made oil is not an oil? I'm sorry, a natural oil is not an oil. Now this next thing needs a little bit of akdama. One of the more fascinating, we had in the beginning of Yuma, one of the more fascinating hanhagas of Klal Yisrael. Right, that was actually the first stuff in Yuma, where we said that the tzaduk, the guy doing the mechatas for the Parah aduma is not allowed to be tummy. But the Chachamim learned out from a pasuk that if he's a full yom, meaning if he was tamei and that day was the seventh day, then he's allowed to do the Parah aduma, even though he didn't have Herav Shemesh, even though it didn't pass the evening. The Tzedukim disagreed with that and held you're not allowed to. So the Chachamim always bedafka made a kohen who was on his seventh day of Tumah do the mechatas. The problem is that they were afraid that the Yidden would now think that Tumah is not such a major thing of Parah aduma, because you see that they let this guy do it on the seventh day. So because of that, they made this big takana of how to go about making sure that Parah aduma was not done by any Tomei kind of kohanim. So Goraminu asked Yestira. Right, so the Mishna says in Parah, Chatzeros hayu b'nuyos Yerushalayim. Right, they had Chatzeros in. It's excellent. Thank you. It's a game changer. Yeah, Chatzeros hayu b'nuyos Yerushalayim. I got my nephew does one of the maintenance here. He got a light for this porch, so now it's not so shiny in the background, whatever. So I appreciate thanking him. Yeah. So anyways, Chatzeros hayu b'nuyos Yerushalayim. There were chatzeros that were built in Yerushalayim al gabi asela, on top of a rock. And under this rock was a space, so that in case there was somebody buried under these rocks, so we know for sure that somebody living on top of the rock is not going to be tummy. Which would make, nowadays we know that probably the entire Yerushalayim is one big kever, right? Tzfas and most of Yerushalayim, that's what they say. So that's what they did. They made this rock above a chalal, so that we know for sure on top of this rock is tar. Maybe in Nashim Ubrus, and they brought pregnant women, the Yehuda Sham, and they gave birth there on top of the rock. Magalis B'nei Sham, and they brought up their kids there, the Parah, in order that the kids should never become tamei, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be dealing with the Parah aduma. Maybe in Shvarim. And they would bring oxen to the when the kids had to go off the rock in order to go get the mechatas, and they put doors on top of the ox so that the kids could sit on top of the doors. Because that will protect them from any tumah on the ground too. The kosher shall ever be them, and then they would come with cups made out of stone, because stone is not makabel tumah, right? If somebody has stoneware, then you don't have to toivel it because it's not makabel tumah. When they reached the shiloach where they got the water from, they would go into the water, right?
No, you put the bucket into the water. No?
And, so this Tana, we're going to see on our base. This Tana says they go into the water, right?
The behemoth
right,
goes
Rashi
into
says
the water.
this Tana says you need to actually go into the water. You can't lower a barrel. You can't lower the bucket. On the base, we're going to have the sheet that says that they lowered the bucket. This one, Rashi says, holds that you have to go get it. So there was no choice. Right? Which is very interesting because you're doing this whole thing. You're bringing pregnant women, having a baby on top of a rock. And right, and then when it comes to doing the water, you don't have a choice. So how do you know there's no mace under the water? Okay, obviously the chances of the mace being under the shiluach are very slim. But okay, but it's an interesting thing. On Amud base, we'll see the sheet that says that they could just lower it in there. Either way, but that's what they did. And then they went and they sat back down, right, on the doors, and they would bring it to the base of Mikdash. Right? But Yosi Aimer, I'm sorry, I said it on the base, but it's brought here too. Right from their place, they would lower the buckets, the rock buckets with a string of because of the kever at the time. They were afraid that there was a kever under the water too. Rabbi Yehuda said they didn't bring glosses, they brought shvarim. They didn't need, meaning the kids could sit on top of the ox. They did not need to sit on doors. So what do you see? That a door, that an ox, which is natural, does protect you from oil, right? There's a space between the stomach of the ox and the floor. Even if there's tumah, it's going to be blocked. So why does Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't require a door, which means that a natural oil he has no problem with. But shvarim, the oil sheina has to be the adam who shvarim is an oil that's not made man-made. They didn't bring glosses, only shvarim. So that's the kasha. So you see, Yehuda does not require man-made. No, Rabbi Yehuda's maida that if there's a space between the ground and whatever roof is covering it, the size of an egroif, which literally means a fist, which Rashi says it's an egroif of some big guy. What was his name?
Ben Avtiach.
Ben Avtiach. Yes, thank you, Ben Avtiach. Right, which is really the size of a regular face. That's a Rashi, a regular head. But if there's that much room, then Rabbi Yehuda's maida that would be considered an oil. All right, so that's a fascinating thing that they do, right? That's in order to maintain to show Klal Yisrael how important it is to have tahara for the mechatas, all because they had this machlokes with the tzedukim, and just to be ha'itzidim with tzedukim, so they have to do this whole thing. So women have to live their whole life with their kids on top of a rock. Now, maybe it's a very large rock. They have a community on there. I don't know. Toises has a pasha tekasha. Don't they become tummy from when they have a baby?
Not Thomas Mace.
It's not us, so it's not. But it's still a type of tumah. You can't have that tumah when you do the Parah aduma. Yeah. So he says that they but they did whatever they could do. That was obviously inevitable. You couldn't do anything about that. What?
I mean, we said there was 8 Parah adumas in 400 years. So like
Yes.
when did they? Okay, whatever. I don't know.
You mean they probably only did this when they saw that they were running out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't it be a permanent community?
There was probably a shidduch crisis if the Olam found out that they're running out of Parah aduma. Nobody want to marry a kohen. Then all of a sudden they're going to get the job to live on a rock their whole life. I don't know. Whatever.
It was even harder to get people to live on that rock than to live in South Bend. Yeah.
It was, by the way, nice one, Rabaran, first and second. I read somewhere on this that it was only until they hit what do you call it? Bar mitzvah.
Yeah, well, the kids had to be young. Yeah.
So I mean, it's not their entire life. I mean, like they go until 12 or whatever it is, and then they're done.
They gave them right. They didn't have to pay tuition. That's how they got people to live there.
Baruch Hashem.
Hello? Am I
Hello?
muted?
No, you're not muted. You are not muted. We all hear you.
We hear you.
Is Tumas Yeledes Matame the blood?
I think Sviakov is not here.
I lost.
We're here.
Am I back on?
Oh.
Yeah, you're back.
See, I knew he believed in me. I'm muting you, but it wasn't me, guys.
I couldn't see anyone move. Siakov.
Yeah.
Is Tumas Yeledes?
We're glued to you every word, Gershi. That's when nobody moves when you talk.
Is when a woman gives birth, is it Matame the blood?
I don't think he's on. I think he fell off.
That was such a kasha. Wow.
Bueller.
It blew him right off the Zoom. Speaking of a Vlad, till Tsiako gets back on, a crazy case in Eretz Yisrael. A baby was born. Inside her stomach, there was an embryo or something with bones in the baby's stomach.
Wow.
There's a name for that. It happens.
It's very rare.
Like every
very
500
rare,
million or something.
Right, but there's a name for it. I forgot what it's called. There's a
Siamese
name
twin, no?
No, Avi. Siamese are attached. This one was in the baby's stomach.
Was about 30 years ago. I read in a journal. A man, the 40-year-old man, came to a hospital with tremendous knee pain, and they did X-rays and scans, and they found that inside his knee was an embryo of his twin. Came out 40 years later. Hey. Eretz, what do you do to your brother?
This has been a fascinating doc.
Hello. Am I back on?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, now you are.
Yes.
Okay. I gotta. You know what? I think I just gotta switch devices. That's all. I gotta stop with my other iPad. It just seems to not go on. Okay. I missed all the ha'aras. Simon's first, then Gesher, but I guess it's late already, so I'll have to get it later. Anyway, so Tyson says that this Tumah Yoledes and all that, there's nothing you can do about it. So therefore, We don't care about that. Okay, so 7 lines up from the bottom. Tani nami hachi. Ma'id Rabbi Yehuda b'shekifin and ubenekike eslam. So Rabbi Yehuda's ma'ida that if you have these rocks that get uprooted, right, and nekike eslam is cracks that are inside rocks, that's considered oil. Yeah. Why? It's not because they're bigger, right? Because the space is bigger. So then Gemara says, so again, Rabbi Yehuda said that you don't need to put a door on top of the shore, right? You could just use the shore. So, but the Delis has got enough room under the. There's many a greifim under the door. The Katani Rabbi Yehuda,
under the door of the cow.
What do you mean?
Kasha is it's under the cow. The cow itself is the oil.
Kosher, yeah, and a chanami, but a kosher the doors, right?
He didn't have a door. That's why it's a kasha.
No, but I'm saying even if you would have a door, there would be kameh greifen, right?
So he didn't use the door.
Right. So
the door is man-made, so that wouldn't be anyway. Right. That would be an oil.
What?
The door is anyway an oil. The kasha is because he didn't use the door. The cow is a problem.
Right. The Gemara says, the yesh for kameh greifen. Right. The door has many.
That's what I don't understand. Why? Yeah.
What?
The door is man-made, so everyone's masking that that's an oil.
That's Toys's kasha. You're saying Toys's kasha. Second Toys about right. Anyways, yeah. So okay, but the way the Gemara is asking it, it's from the Delis. They didn't bring Delis, only Shvarim. So why? What was wrong with bringing a Delis? According to Yehuda, what was wrong with bringing a Delis? Right? So Tais is asking, Gershon's asking Tais' kasha. Right? Okay, well, let's just see about it. What it means is that if you didn't say you're not allowed to bring a door, he's saying you didn't have to bring a door, you could have used the animal. But the door is also okay according to Rabbi Yehuda. Yeah? Fine. Rava Amar, Rava disagrees. He said they didn't bring blosses at all. Because the das of a tinok is very, it's an interesting lashon, right? It says gasala means it's gaiva. It's a lashon of gaiva, right? The kid's gonna play around. He's gonna put his hands off the top of the door, and he's gonna become tummy. Which Rashi says, okay, so why isn't the kid gonna stick his hands off of the shore? Right? So the pshat is because the shore, he's gonna be scared. Because the shore, it's easy to fall off. He's not gonna want to fall off. And once you have a door, there's a lot more room. So that's what Rav says. Tanya Kava say the Rav, we have a brisa. Excuse me, we have a brisa like Rava. If Yehuda maybe in the losses called Iker. If Yehuda said they didn't bring walls at all. If because the das of a tinok has a guy. Maybe he's going to take out one of his head or one of his evarim, be yatama bekever time, and become tummy with the kever time. Elmavi and Shvarim HaMitzrayim, they brought shar from Mitzrayim, Shekrisasein Rechavas, that their stomachs are very wide, but Tinoikas Yoshvin al Gabayan, the Tinoikas would sit on top of them. The Kosher Shalevim B'Yadayin, and they had the stone kalim in their hands. They gave the Shiluach, and once they reached the Shiluach, that was the stream that ran there near Beis Hamikdash, Yardu or Malam, they would go down and fill it up, all over Yoshvin al Gabayan, and then they would go sit on them. Fine. So that's a Machlokes, whether they had to use doors, or they could have used doors. Fine. They're going to ask son now about yeah.
Once you bring in clay evan, why couldn't someone who's actually tamei mace take a clay evan and fill it in the stream? The water's not going to become tamei.
Yeah.
What's the point of all of this?
Yeah, there's another kasha. Places on Amud Aleph asks, not allowed to do the strafe day for the parah aduma. You're gonna have to give it to an adult. Right, that's the previous Taisa on Amud Aleph. Ask like a similar kind of what you had. At some point, you're gonna have to give it to an adult. Kid can't do it, right? So what is this whole thing doing? Right, it just adds a kasha to it. It's just a fascinating thing. This whole process. They're gonna have to hand it to an adult. So Taisa says they did whatever they can do. Like this whole thing was basically a show, to show Klal Yisrael that you can't bring the Parah aduma in Tumah. And why did you would bring the Parah aduma in Tumah? Because of this, because of the Machlokes with the Tzdukim. So we always had somebody who was a full Yom, right, who was tahor, and he had just needed Herav Shemesh, right? So the whole thing is just wild. The whole thing is wild. I don't see how you can make real details out of the whole thing. Yeah. Anyways, so now the Gemara goes back to Sukkah. A mita has many fists, right? From the ground to the mita has many fists. The Tanan Rav Yehuda, we sat under the bed. Now Rav Yehuda is going to be maida if there's a lot of fists of space between the floor and the bed. Rav Yehuda is going to be maida. Right, that it's gonna be oil. So if it's an oil, how can you sit under there? You're not sitting in the sukkah. The Gemara answers shani mita. This we had in the morning. Shani mita oil lukabasuya. The bed is different because a bed is not an oil. Because when you put a bed out, you're doing it to sleep on top of the bed. You're not looking to make it protect anything. So the Gemara asks, "What do you mean shvarim nami lukabasuya? A shor, you sit on top of a shor. You don't walk around with a shor to protect things." Since the shor protects the shepherd, the sun because of the sun, and the rain because of the rain. And so that's which is an odd minig that the royim, the shepherds used to sit under the cows to protect them, right? Fine. Second one says a bed also you use to protect things. See, they kept shoes under the beds back then too, right? A bed, you put things under the bed.
But they didn't have potato. They didn't have potato chips yet,
I guess, or bottles of water, right? Not the big camp shilas, right? Stuffing, keeping food under the bed, which you're not supposed to do. But then people get confused and they think that you can't keep anything under the bed. It's really just food.
It's not a difference between a human being under an object and food or shoes, inanimate objects.
The whole thing is whether this thing is meant to be protecting things. So a bed, we thought, is only you're only spreading out the oil to have the person sleep on it, not under it. But now we're saying, what do you mean? You are doing it to protect things. I'll tell you a mashal. We learned this in the morning now. We've been doing it for the last few weeks. But why are you allowed to put a tablecloth on a table on Shabbos? You're making a tent. Right? It's going to hang off the side. You're making a shtickle of tent. The reason is because that tablecloth is not meant to make an oil. It's meant to cover your table. It's not meant to make. That's not your kavanah to cover anything, meaning under the table. Which we saw that some of the Heintige Poskim say that caterers that put the skirt around the table and they hide the old bottles and all that stuff under there, then they may not be able to put on a tablecloth on Shabbos because they're doing it to protect the bottom, right?
Yaakov, I remember a guy in Camp Malka used to give people a hard time about the carriage, closing the top of the carriages that people walk around with.
Yeah, but that's not usually a problem because it's connected to the carriage.
I'm telling you, Maisa Shahaya.
I hear. Maybe you see the guy.
He also doesn't use sunscreen.
Right.
I was about to say maybe he's the sunscreen guy.
Yeah.
How about bunk bed? Could you sleep underneath the bunk bed?
Oh, that's a good question, Taka. Right? So you hear what Moshe's asking. A bunk bed, A bunk bed, l'chayra, you are doing it. Well, I don't know. Is that to protect? Or it's just an easy way to get two people to sleep in one spot?
Well, how about when the kids, Yaakov, take their blanket from the top bunk bed over the other one to make a tent? My mamish took off my belt last week and I beat them down and I said, "You're making an oil," and
This is on tape. Be careful what you say there.
Exactly. You should really be plugging the morning share. We hashed this all out.
We've been working on this for 3 weeks in the morning share. 8:45 on these local channels, 10 to 9, 5 to 9 on these local channels.
Hold on, so it's 8:45. You're saying just AM. All right.
Yeah, right. It's AM, and for some reason it doesn't crash either in the morning. It never crashes in the morning, the internet. I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, making those kids' tents is an issue. It's an issue. It's not partial at all. But anyway, the point is that the difference between whether it's an oil or not is if it's meant to cover something. The Gemara is saying now that the beds are meant to cover something, right? The Elo Amarova Shani Shvarim. No, Shvarim are different. Since this is also very interesting that the shor is there, the top of the shor is there to protect the intestines of the animal. Right? Shenemar, and it brings a pasuk, Aru basar tabisheni, but some is to gidim to seicheni. Right? With skin and basar, you're gonna give me clothes, and with the bones and gidim, you're gonna cover me. So you see that the back of the animal is there to protect the lower part of the animal. Right? Okay, Viba is saying another pshat. Why does Rabbi Yehuda hold on?
I don't understand that. The belly is what's mild, not the back.
No, the back is mild. You mean how you getting around the belly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear. I don't know. Also, I had a different thing. There's no tefach between the intestines, and where's the oil? Right? Okay, Biba is saying, Rabbi Yehuda l'tamei. Rabbi Yehuda is going according to his reason. Damar sukka diras keva b'inam. Right? We know from Daf Bezim and Aleph that a sukka needs a diras keva. Pavale mita diras arai, and a mita is a diras arai. The sukka oil keva, and the sukka is an oil keva. Oil arai about the oil keva. We're not going to say that a temporary oil is going to go knock away a permanent oil. So therefore, the bed, which is a temporary tent, is not going to come knock out the sukkah, which is a kavua, which is a
what?
What he's saying?
Who says it's a temporary bed? We had 7 blot. They're bringing in these keepers kohanim. They're bringing in 4-poster beds. They're not bringing in rollaway cots. They're bringing in serious beds into the sukkah.
Right, I hear. But I guess it means that it would be at least at the minimum a temporary bed. No?
No, it sounded like they were bringing beds from, certain cases they brought beds from their bedroom. That's what it sounded like. Certain ones obviously were temporary. And
right, but okay, but I guess it all
Byron, there's something in the nursing homes that they call movable objects and stuff that are mamish there. And there's some stuff you get paid back for, some stuff you don't. Like a computer is considered movable. A bed is movable. An air conditioning unit is not.
It's an interesting tushta, I hear. He's bringing a raya from a Yiddish industry, right?
Yeah.
All right, so then Gemara says, Rav Shimon, Rav Shimon was one of the shittas, if we remember way back, that a sukkah needs to be also permanent. And we know that Vasi oil around about the oil keva, and Rav Shimon holds that you're not allowed to sit under a tent sit under the bed. So how come he holds that? So it says in that's the Machlokes. Marsavar Vasi oil around about the oil keva. The temporary oil comes in as a permanent. Marsavar loyasi oil around about the oil keva. An oil around does not come, and mavatal is not mavatal an oil keva. Fine. Okay. So sagt Gemara weiter. Amr Rav Shimon Meis.
Comes out in the Maskana that Rav Yehuda would agree to the trees are mahal also. Everyone's masking to that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not a Machlokes in the end.
Parah, right? Yes. Correct. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Right. So Amr Rav Shimon Meis b'Teviyav. There was a Meis b'Teviyav. Tan Amr Rav Shimon Mashin. Mistichasay shel. From Stam talking of Rabbi Gamliel, we learned that two things. Lamandu sha'avadim peturim and sukka. We learned that avadim are part from sukka. The lamandu sha'yashin ta'amita lo yotzedei chavasai. Right, and we learned that two halachas that evet's part from sukka, and if you sleep under the bed, you're not yotze. The lema midvar of Rabbi Gamliel. Why are you saying misichasai? Why say from the words of Rabbi Gamliel? Well, it says Milsag of Orchik Mashmalan. It's coming to teach us something parenthetical. How do you know that you're supposed to learn out things from Stam talking of Tamid Chachamim? Right, it says from the leaves will not die.
Does this constitute song of the daf?
Why not? Why not?
See, Yaakov, this little Rashi is tremendous to know.
What the Dovah?
Misichasai. Lashon Sichas Chulin V'Simcha. That's a Sichas Talmid Chachamim.
Very good. I that totally passed me by. That 100%. You see what Rabban's saying? That's very good. Very good. Right? It says Misichasai. Lashon Sichas Chulin V'Simcha. I gotta add that to my notes. That's very good. That's very good horror. Right? That's a Talmud Chacham. They usually besimcha. Right? So the point that you're supposed to hang out with Talmid Chachamim, right? What is it? That you should be hanging out with Talmid Chachamim because you can learn things from their regular day-to-day things. There's actually a sefer on Haggis of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, right? That's called Valeu Layibel, like all the Hanhogas of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Okay, fine. Now this next sugya, I'm just warning you. I don't know if the other one wants to do it tonight or tomorrow, but it's one of my pet peeves. This sugya. So hold on. I'm going to try not to extend it to too long. The daf, but there's a lot to learn from this next small sugya. The Mishna. If somebody leans, Aaron Kaplan posted on the chat. Because it's a little confusing exactly. Yeah.
What, Yaakov, what did you say?
I'm saying the picture you posted are important for this because differences and there's slight differences in the pictures that can make a difference in the sugya. So it says the Mishna says if you sukka on the legs of a bed, it's kosher. Meaning what you did here is instead of you took a bedpost, which are makabel tumah. They are makabel tumah because it's a kli, right? And you just you took the canopy off and put down schach. So basically, your sukkah is being held up by something that's makabel tumah.
Givaldic, and here I thought Aaron double posted. I'm like, ay.
Oh, it's two separate pictures, parents.
I know. I thought you posted the same one. You're like my mother. No, you post the same thing over and over again.
I've been called a lot worse than like your mother.
Yeah, very good, very good. Anyway, so you got to look at the differences in those pictures. I didn't see that. I saw one picture. I didn't see both, but I'm assuming had enough faith in Aaron that he posted both. Anyway, so again, so if you lean it straight on the legs of the bed, it's kosher. If the bed is not able to stand by itself, then it's going to be puzzle, meaning because then you're using it, meaning because then you're using the post. So the Tanakama holds it's kosher, and Yehuda says it's puzzle. Okay, now my time is the Gemara. My time is Rabbi Yehuda. What is Rabbi Yehuda? Why does he hold that it would be puzzle unless it could stand independently? So one is because if it can't stand independently, then it's not a permanent tent. And we know Rabbi Yehuda holds it needs to be permanent, the sukkah. And the other one says, and this is very important, comes up on everybody's sukkah. The other one says because you're holding up the schach with something that's makabel tumah. Why? Because the legs of the bed are makabel tumah because it's a kli. So Gemara says, "My beinayu." What's the difference between the two tirutzim? Meaning, yeah, if they're saying two different pshatim in Rabbi Yehuda, there has to be a halachic difference. My beinayu. We're going to not shvudin shel barzel. That's a case where you stick metal sticks in the ground, the sukka chalem, and you put the schach on them, which is again our canvas sukkahs are usually a metal frame. You're putting schach down on top of it. That's exactly this case. And you're putting schach on them. According to Mandam that says that it's not considered pavua harei metal pole stuck into the ground that's permanent. Because you're being maimed in a makabel, then harei ma'amid b'davar makabel, you're being maimed on something makabel, and therefore it's going to be puzzle. Right? Again, let's just stop here a second. So basically, we have two layers here. Right off the bat, it's a Machlokes according to the Chachamim, who say that the sukka on the bed is no problem. Clearly, they have no issue with something being makabel tumah, putting schach on something makabel tumah. That's the Tanakama.
Why is it not an issue that it doesn't have enough walls?
No, we're talking about where you made walls.
Yeah, but
it has talking about where you made walls. We're just dealing with the schach here.
Okay.
So understand the what's going on here.
So the picture is not the whole picture.
I guess it's not the full. I didn't see the picture. This picture.
Right. That's what I'm asking because it only has two walls. It doesn't have 2.5.
You're the one who posted the picture.
I'm saying now.
He didn't draw it. He didn't draw it. He just posted it.
No, but I'm thinking now that's a problem in itself. Why would that be kosher?
Aaron, excuse me. The first one has 3 walls. That's three walls. The first one.
It does?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the second one, Rabaran.
I said the first one has 3
Yeah,
walls.
but the second one where we're talking about that the schach is sitting on top of something that's like a makabel tumah.
Yeah, okay. So that would need a third wall. I don't know why they didn't put a third wall on that second picture.
It's a mashu in the back. Behind the pillow, there's a mashu.
No, maybe you know what it is. Maybe they're counting the board underneath the frame.
You think so?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay,
Yaakov, could that be?
Good asik we hold.
It could be, but I'd say it's weird that they would do that. Okay, but whatever, shine. The point is it has kosher walls. We're just dealing with the schach here. So again, just because it's very important to understand how it's maimed of sukkah, right? Again, according to the Tanakama, there's no issue of maimed. They say it's mutter to take the schach and put it down on top of it. So the chacham have no issue. It's only Rabbi Yehuda, and even in Rabbi Yehuda, it's a machlokes. Why Rabbi Yehuda asked it? Al keva or makabel tumah. So if you paskin like the chachamim, then the whole maimed, you can put your schach down on metal. It doesn't make a difference because the chacham don't care. It's only if you paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. So some rishonim say we paskin like the chacham, you go with the roiv, and memela maimed is no issue. Others say, well, if we pass on like Yehuda, why is the Gemara having a shakal v'tari? If we pass on like the Chachamim, why is the Gemara having a shakal v'tari in Rabbi Yehuda? You don't know, the Gemara doesn't normally have a shakal v'tari with the shita that we don't pass on like. So therefore, we do pass on like Rabbi Yehuda, and then in Rabbi Yehuda, you got to pass on like the shita that says that his issue is if it's makabel tumah. Right?
It doesn't that kind
well,
of.
You just
what do you say, Gershon?
Doesn't that svara defeat itself? According to the Mandamar who says that the problem is she'en la keva, we can't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, and yet it's still discussing it.
No, why can't we pass Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda says that if it can't stand independently, then it's no good.
Because the reason for that is she'en la keva, and sukkah needs to be a diras keva.
Right, so that's
right. We don't paskin like that.
Good,
how do we paskin? We can't.
I mean, then he's not even handling maimed. That's what you're saying?
No, besides for maimed. I mean, the svara is that because the Gemara is handling Rabbi Yehuda, we must paskin like Rabbi Yehuda.
Right.
According to one of these svaras, we can't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda.
Correct.
According to the
don't. You're saying we don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we can't. It can't be. I mean, in that svara, there's a problem. According to one of these Amiron, we obviously do not ask like Rabbi Yehuda. And yet the Amira said the reason of Rabbi Yehuda. So what's the svara name? The svara falls apart.
The enochanami, you're right. So in meaning, so the point you're strengthening the point that we're saying is that to go with Maimid, you have to go with one shita in Reb Yehuda neged the rabbin. Right? So the bottom line is how do we paskin? So the bottom line is the Sharatzian on Tuf, whatever the simon is in Hilchos Sukkah, says b'di'evid, a sukkah that's on metal is kosher. He says l'chatchila you shouldn't do it, like Rabbi Yehuda, but b'di'evid, if you're sitting in a sukkah, you go to somebody's house and you're sitting there and you look up and you see that it's being held on with nails and it's nailed in and all whatever, every psul you want of Maimid, Sharatzian says b'di'evid it's kosher. That's a very important point. Now the Chazanish says not only is Maimid a problem, he says even Maimid the Maimid, which is basically, that means every sukkah is puzzle according to the Chazanish, because almost everybody's sukkahs are being held by nails, which is holding the wood. So ultimately you pull out nails, which is makabel tumah, and your whole sukkah is falling down. So the Chazanish says it's Maimid the Maimid, right? So the Welt gets all excited with the Chazanish, but the bottom line is it's not even clear that Maimid is an issue. Meaning the Chazanish is saying if you hold that Maimid's an issue, Maimid the Maimid's also an issue, right? But it's not clear that Maimid is even an issue. Well, you look from our sugya, many Rishonim hold that even Maimid is not an issue. So I'm saying the whole Welt gets so carried away with this Chazanish. The Chazanish is saying that if you hold Maimid's an issue, Maimid the Maimid's also an issue. But Maimid itself may not be an issue, right? Which the Mishabura Paskins b'di'evid, Maimid is not an issue, right? Guys, every sukkah I get a call or a text from somebody. I'm sitting in a sukkah and I see it's tied down and it's this and it's that. Can I eat it? Do I got to make a hak? No, you don't. But just eat there. It's fine. It's fine because it's not even clear that that Maimid is an issue. Whatever. That hence my pet peeve.
Even if Maimid is an issue, isn't the pashtus of this sukkah that this Maimid is not the walls? It's besides for the walls.
Not the walls.
The Mishna could have said an easy case. Well, so if my walls are made out of metal.
I mean, why didn't the Mishna walls are made out of metal? That's what you're asking?
Yeah, just give a case where my sukkah is made out of something and put something else there. The Mishnah and the Gemara goes out of the way to say the besides for the walls, I put these shpudin. No, it's shpudin. I have something besides for the walls. It's mashma from the Gemara that even if my walls are metal, I can put the schach straight on top of it. That's not a Maimid, that's the wall.
Right. And a chanami. Well, then it's time another kasha. So if you hold in Maimid's a problem, so how come we put schach down on top of metal, on top of cement? Right? Right? Let's say somebody puts it rested on cement or metal. How come we're allowed to do that? So the poskim say that the reason is because there's no chance that you're going to confuse it with schach, because nobody makes metal schach. That's one of the or schach from stone. Yeah. Okay. Let's just finish up the daf so the oilam could go where it wants to go and whoever wants to stay on and handle this. Okay. Amar Abaya, 4 lines up in the bottom, last word on the line. Amar Abaya, lo shanu ela samach. We're talking about where you actually made. This is the second picture. Aaron posted. Lo shanu ela samach. We're not talking about only where you actually leaned it. Avasika chagav hamita ksheira. But if you did schach on top of a bed, then that's kosher, right? Yeah, that's meaning you just took the walls of the bed and you put the schach on top and it's kosher. My time, huh? What's the reason? The command that says that it's possible because it's not kavua. It is kavua. The bed is considered a permanent thing. He's not putting it on something that's not makabel tumah, right?
Well, on the poles, on the metal poles?
No, it's not. It's no, because again, if you look at the picture, yeah, it's again, it's not here. I didn't well.
I don't. Let me see the picture. But basically, you didn't rest it on the bed. What you did is you rested it. That's not the proper thing. Actually, I'm sorry to say, the pictures got Aaron. You posted the pictures out of order.
What do you mean?
This case is the first picture. The second picture you posted is the first case where you're actually using the walls of the bed. So then the walls of the bed are makabel tumah. This case, you made a freestanding sukkah and you're just using the walls of the bed as the walls. So meaning the sukkah, the schach is independent. The schach is independent of it. So that's what he's saying here. If it's not keva, this is keva when it has a good what do you call it? A good what's it called when you make a frame, a good frame. And the one that holds it's not makabel tumah, you weren't minded on something about because you're not resting the schach on the bed, you're resting the schach on a frame, and that frame is makabel tumah. Obviously, we're talking about.
But the only way the sukkah is kosher is because you have the bed, and the bed can be makabel tumah.
But the bed is the walls. The bed is only the walls.
What do you mean? Without walls, it's
No, but the walls are allowed to be makabel tumah. Here, that's why it's important to look at the picture. That picture is a frame on top of a bed. So the frame is freestanding and not makabel tumah. So that's it in the schach. The walls are being used by the bed. The walls, we don't care if they're makabel tumah. Right? Yeah. Okay. So anyways, we'll stop here. So I hope that was clear enough. All right.
Aaron. Can I just point out, Aaron Horowitz? Can I just point out your kasha before was that the bed is a kava. You have here on the same Amud, Rabbi Yehuda saying that down here he says that the mita is a kava, and on the top it wasn't. It was arai on the same Amud.
Okay.
Just interesting.
I wanted to say before about when Rabbi Yaakov was talking about being chayshish for Rabbi Yehuda, was that because Rabbi Yehuda is the main man in the whole Masechta. Every blot, every Amud is Rabbi Yehuda. Whether you're passing like him or not, you gotta worry for him. He's a heavy hitter in sukkah.
I hear that's
it's an
interesting thing. Yeah. But I don't know why we don't pass like I hear what you're saying. We don't pass like Yehuda anywhere else. And so punct here, if you want to go with mine, but we are passing like Yehuda, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, Leo, go ahead.
I'm sitting here with my father, who he's in Phoenix for the week, but he makes the chazan sukkahs.
Send him regards.
Forever.
Send him
I will.
regards.
So he said that he's willing to give lessons to anyone who wants to know plans how to make a chazan sukkah.
Oh yeah, but here it is. I just said that.
He's pushing your business now. You're gonna do chazan sukkahs.
He's not in. No. My father's been making
a
chazan.
You're gonna do that for 3 months. Stop the buildings and do chazan sukkahs.
No, not a business opportunity.
Baron, you get a 10% discount.
He wants my picture on that stuff.
You
all I'm saying is I gave this whole shtickle Torah that the Chazon Ish is not so important, and now you're going and want to give out lessons.
He's your Talmud, Rabbi Yaakov.
I know.
Look who I found. Asking me if I'm doing the daf. I said, of course I'm doing the daf.
Hold on, I don't see who you were.
It was the doctor. The doctor from
Corman.
What's his?
Dr. Corman?
Yeah, Dr. Corman. Yeah.
Oh, he's doing it. He's doing it. Pike for Chai again.
This is an Amud for him with the ladies having babies on this Amud.
He's helping out. I said, let me.
What happened? All right. Anyways,
is that me or him?
Any updates?
What updates? What should be an update
for me?
What is it for you? I'm saying I'm not.
I'm in suspense. You're keeping me in suspense.
Suspense for what? The Pasha says I'm not going. We're going to schlep in mid-August to Phoenix.
I hear. That's a valid argument.
I don't know. I didn't speak to my wife all day. I have my phone device is fine, but I'm just saying. So I'll have to run it by her.
Okay.
Grada. That Friday. I have a chasana Friday afternoon. I think somebody's making a chasana Friday afternoon, and then a weekend in a hotel. I don't think I'm going to be going to the weekend in the hotel, but I might have to go to the chasana.
Are you Masada Kedushin or no?
I hope not.
That's a solid Friday afternoon. Is a solid chasana. That I give him props for that.
Yeah.
Here.
Yes, sir.
How do we say over here?
Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear before.
All right.
Sorry, that was Dr. Corman. I walked into a bad spot and I couldn't.
Yeah.
We
figured it out. We figured it out.
He's driving one of the vehicles to help. He hurt himself. He said. He said he fell this year or something. Did you hear about that? He said he hurt himself this year. Dr. Corman got injured. Yeah, so he said he's not biking. He's driving a car to help other bikers.
Yeah.
Okay. And Shalom is leading the party, by the way.
Well, he's leading the party?
Whatever. Shalom is he's a top guy here.
Yeah, of course. Avada.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Enjoy yourself.
Have a good night. Thank you. Have a good night.
How does it help over here that we have a svara? The Gemara is discussing Rabbi Yehuda, so Mamela halacha must be like it. There's a cloud throughout Shas that halacha Rabbi Yehuda mechaveiroi v'lei mechaveirav. That's a halacha. I'm going to say svara oiker halacha here.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I have no idea. You have a shot?
No, I don't understand. The halacha is we only pass like Rabbi Yehuda mechaveiroi, not mechaveirav. That's the halacha. All of a sudden we have a svara because it's discussing Rabbi Yehuda.
Again, what are you saying?
The klal yashas, klal Talmuds is halacha. That's how we paskin. And the klal is halacha Rabbi Yehuda mechaveiroi v'lei mechaveirav. We don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda when he's in the minority. All of a sudden here we have a svara why we should paskin like him, so we should paskin like him. I could be masking to the svara from today till tomorrow. It doesn't help. The halacha is we don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda when there's a rabbin against him.
So you're saying, so why are we even bothering with Maimed?
Yeah.
And a chanami.
Even though Shavura says, but I mean, it's a lechatchila, but why? Where does it come from? Where's the source that it's that even lechatchila we should pass like Rabbi Yehuda?
Because for whatever it seems like, because the Gemara is handling a shakalatay and Rabbi Yehuda, that means for whatever reason the Gemara seems to be passing like it.
But who says that? Where did it start?
Don't hold the mind, you still can't have that inside. You don't hold mind. There's other issues
with Kabbalah's Tumah and all that.
You have found that base. You can't make beers in stuff.
Okay, that's already it. That's already. Yeah, so that's gonna be tomorrow's daf. That's gonna be tomorrow's daf.
But isn't there a rat, no? That says that maybe the Parah last is a staff of private.
What?
Obviously, a rat. Somebody who's masking to pollution mass. How can you build a stick on a tree? Now the tree is going to be mine.
Dylan back here is handling Gershon.
I hear. I'm trying to listen, but the mic isn't close enough.
Yeah, sorry. So they're really handling Maimed.
So he asked, how can you build a sukkah in a tree? It's Maimed in a tree? What's the problem with that?
No, according to Yehuda, the Mishna says you can build a sukkah in a tree. The only problem is you can't get up there. That's inside the sukkah. It's a kosher sukkah.
Right.
I can be kosher. According to Yehuda, you have a problem in mind. That's different all Rishonim. That's the mitzvah. This is where the Chazanish is coming from. These Rishonim.
That asked that what? What did you just say?
Every sukkah in a tree is minded. Because the tree is holding up the walls and the walls are holding up the schach. And the tree is not possible because it's mechubel karka. Right, the rocks also no. The rocks they have different territory. The rocks are different kasha. You can't touch it. Right. Yeah, but by something mechubel karka it is shayach. The Mishna says you can hit those like tanim. There's a Mishna. You can all give yourself mechubel. But the Chazanish I see from the kasha of the Rishonim that Maimed is a problem because Maimed wasn't a problem. What kind of kasha is this? Right. This is the floor. The floor is the tree.
I still don't understand what the kasha is. What's the kasha of the Rishonim? It doesn't say. Yehuda never says. Hold on. Yehuda doesn't say that you can't be maimed with something that's possible for schach. He says you can't be maimed with the davar shemekabel tuma. A tree's not mekabel tuma.
Not just mekabel tuma. Anything that's possible is schach. Anything that's possible is schach. You have a problem with maimed. Not just davar mekabel tuma. Mechubel karka is possible is schach. You have a problem with maimed. Anything that's possible is schach, you have a problem with maimed.
Okay, you just wrote a new Gemara.
I wrote a new Gemara.
Rashi over there
Rashi,
says,
right.
Rashi says that the ikar is schach is the tzanas because it holds up.
I'm going to make a new Gemara. What do I make a new Gemara?
Elders. There are.
What is our Gemara? This Gemara is the Gemara of minded. The Gemara says Shemamida b'davar mekabel tuma.
The whole again, the whole
is maybe you'll go.
That's what the Shem said. Rashi said. Too fancy. Rashi said.
I know. What do you think? Let's go to Walmart.
Hey, Dalad Kali like Mishna.
My wife
did. My wife. You said all.
I told my wife to look out for something.
Because it holds the schach. I don't know Lashon Rashi. This is the going back couple years. I haven't seen.
I can't hear nothing. Too many people talking.
That's because these guys could be on our daf.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, we'd have a 2.5 hour daf. I don't mind.
Oh, that's Lashon Rashi. I have a kilu sichich. As Rishonim Rashi, all the Rishonim argue. They say it's not kilu sichich with them. Rather, it's a new din derabanan. Stamazay shash. Rashi, you still have a problem. According to the Rishonim, also you have a problem with chubra. It's shash. You can go mechaber.
Here, who's this? Gershon. Here, you got my Gershon.
Yeah.
Avram Goldstone.
Avram
Hey,
Goldstone.
how are you?
Shalom.
You know who that is?
No idea.
Yeah. He's my Shver's neighbor.
Gershon Russell. Ah, Gershon, Shalom. How are you?
I figured you knew each other from down Beach 17.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you have to see in Cleveland right now, no?
Where's this Zoom is all over. Wow. Phoenix, Florida, you name it.
Wow, huge.
Yeah. That's right.
Very nice.
I don't
now we got
whatever Rashi says.
What are you signing here? Hold on to it.
Shalom. I'm not sure if he sees me in that. Oh, right. Fucking this. I should become fucking out.
Whatever Rashi says, the reason for this Isser is according to Rabbi Yehuda.
Yeah.
Gemara still says Shemamida b'davar shebekabel tuma. The Gemara could have just as easily said Shemamida b'davar she'asal l'schach.
No, because we're.
I hear it's a diuk, but the Rishonim disagree with that diuk. The Rishonim say it's a din by anything that's possible schach because the svara is applied to anything that's possible schach. It shouldn't be daf. The Gemara was not got one lashon. What? I know, but why he's asking, why did the Gemara say that the Gemara could have easily just said it's possible schach? Why did the Gemara?
No. You're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying that.
You're being.
I'm saying I'm learning Pashut Pshat in the Gemara here. I always had an issue when I have a line in the Gemara that says one thing, and someone comes, we're Rishonim. You got Rishonim. I have Gemara Rashi.
Okay, go. Fine, I'm fine.
Explain to me Gemara Rashi.
Go
According to Rashi, is there a problem with building a sukkah in a tree right now, according to Rabbi Yehuda? With what we have on this page?
There should be, because there's no svara to be mechalik between the psul of davar mekabel tuma and the psul of mechuber. Rashi says the reason why
the Gemara says one thing.
I know, you're right. The Gemara was talking about the psul of the Mishna. The Mishna, that's what the Dibra Kosa B'Hoiva. The Gemara is talking about the psul of what's it called? Having by mita. And therefore, it's
it doesn't work when you're talking about the halacha itself.
I know,
The
I understand, but
original
there's no.
writing
You
of the
have a
halakha.
smart mechalik.
What? I
You have
don't
a
care if
smart
you have a
mechalik.
smart or not a smart. Smart doesn't come into this.
Okay, I have no smart.
Smart does
mechalik,
not
and
come
the
into
Rishonim-
this.
Fine.
No.
I have no smart mechalik, and the Rishonim say that it applies. The psul maimed would apply equally as well to the psul mechuber, and the Gemara just said psul of mekabel tumah because that's what the Gemara was talking about. The Mishna was
Again, can
talking
we go back to basics? I'm dealing
Yes.
with Gemara Rashi. I'm not dealing
Good.
with Rishonim.
Okay, good. And you
According
don't
to
find in the
Gemara
Gemara
Rashi,
Rashi
this would
otherwise.
not be a kasha.
Why?
Oh, it's so krum. That is mamish krum.
Where do you see
The
otherwise? I
Gemara
don't
says-
stop what you're
The
saying.
Gemara says a halacha.
No.
Okay, here. I'm going to make up a new halacha for you.
Do. I'm
Chalav
listening.
stam, right? Chalav
I'm
alkum
listening.
is an issue, right?
Yes, it's true. It's Mishna,
Why?
yeah.
Because
Why?
whatever the problem
L'chas.
might be, whatever the issue is,
Yeah.
right? So now you're going to say that when the Gemara says Chalav Akum is an issue, everything from an Akum is an issue because the reason applies. No, the Gemara says Chalav is an issue. not
Actually, the
anything
reason
else.
doesn't apply, and therefore I wouldn't say that. The reason doesn't apply, and therefore I wouldn't say that. The reason is because milk and milk look similar, so the guy will add some pig milk to the regular milk. Masha Enkein,
no.
that doesn't apply to anything else.
No, you added again. You did it again. No one says because they look similar, not the Gemara, not the Rishonim.
They don't say what?
No one uses the words "they look similar" by Chalav Stam. But that wasn't. I picked a bad mashal, but it still applies. The point
No,
being,
I'm saying it's a bad mashal.
that when the
If I
Gemara
have all
says
these
something's
say one way, I don't see.
hold on.
I don't
Hold
see
on.
it big.
Hold on. If the Gemara says a halacha, right? The Gemara
Yes.
gives a reason. You're gonna say all of a sudden we're gonna come along and say, oh, this is included in that, so that's also. No, that's not how.
If I didn't
halacha
have a
works.
spar otherwise, and I see the Rishonim, I don't have what you're saying.
That's not
Your
how
whole diak
halacha
is from the
works.
fact that the Gemara says Davar Makabel Tumah. 1 second. Your whole diak is from the fact that the Gemara says Davar Makabel Tumah must be that specifically that nothing else, right?
No, you're misunderstanding me. You're misunderstanding.
What's your
I think,
diak?
I think there's no diuk here. No diuk. The Gemara says a halacha. The halacha is the davar and makabel tuma you can't be mamad with. You're saying now let's look at the reason. The reason is this. Let's add something else. That's not what the halacha was. Hello. Oh no. They're muted. You're muted. If that makes a difference.
Not anymore. I'm sorry. The kids are.
Ah.
If this svara applies to all types of psulim, and the Rishonim say it does apply to all psulim, why would you?
Can you
assume
stop this? You're
Rashi-
misunderstanding what I'm
telling you.
saying. You're telling me. I'm asking you black and white. You're giving me pink and purple.
I'm sorry. What should I do for you? I don't understand your whole diak. That's my problem with you. I don't appreciate your diak. I don't appreciate your diak.
Okay. So you don't appreciate how to learn a Gemara. That's all. It's
Again,
not a
the
diuk.
Rishonim disagree with you. The Rishonim
You
all agree with
understand
me
what a
on this
diuk
one.
is? You understand what a diuk is?
I
This
understand what a
isn't a
diak
diuk.
is. Yeah.
This is not a diuk. This is a halakha. Straight out halakha.
Yeah,
The
it says
Gemara
Davar
says,
Makabel
the
Tumah has a
Rebbe
soul mind
says-
according to Yehuda. That's what it says.
Very good.
Ad
That's
kan.
it.
So with
Ad
just
kan.
that, I would agree with you. Just Davar Makabel Tumah. Now let's figure out the reasoning behind that. Rashi says one way, all the Rishonim say another way. Rashi says because when you're maimed something with something, the halacha is it has the whole schach has a din of the maimed. That's what Rashi says. Alam d'shazach. Rashi seems to say it's meikar adin. All other Rishonim argue with Rashi, and they say it's a din d'Rabbanan. It's not a meikar adin. They say it's a new din d'Rabbanan. If you're maimed with it, what's going to happen is you're going to come to me mesachech also with it. A new din d'Rabbanan. Side with Rashi, side with Rishonim. I wouldn't assume this halacha applies specifically to Makabel Tumah. I would assume the Gemara is saying a mushal of one of the psulei schach. That's what I would assume.
You would assume that halacha is written in Mishalim? Are you crazy?
No, that the Gemara just meant any psul schach would have a din maimed. Yes, any
That's
psul
not how
schach has a
halacha is
maimed.
written. Can you imagine learning a mechaber like that? The
I think,
Beis
yeah, I know
Yosef,
you
he
have to
writes
know
in
the
Mishalim.
mechaber
He
like
doesn't
that.
write
You're wrong.
halachas,
That's
he
down
writes
most
in
of the most. You have to
Mishalim.
understand the mechaber. Yeah, 100% have to learn every single mechaber like that. Try to figure out the klal and try to get away from the prat. Evada.
And all the Rishonim say this. I don't know what we're arguing about. We're going to sit here until this morning to argue about is this a dik, nishka dik. It's not a dik. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You know what?
We agree to disagree. That's the aside. And that's it.
I don't agree to disagree. I
Look
think.
at the withdrawal over here.
Yeah.
Look at the withdrawal.
Shkoyach.
I
don't know. When I learned to learn, I learned to start with the Gemara, then go to Rashi. Unfortunately, in America, the derech is you learn the Rishonim first, see what they say, put it back in, then learn the Gemara.
No.
So what do you have here?
Rashi, then go to the Rishonim and then go back to the sugya. Go back to the sugya afterwards. So right now I'm going back to the sugya afterwards.
Yeah.
That's my derech.
I hear. And then plug the Rishonim into everything else.
Don't plug Rishonim into it. Don't force it. But try to figure out what's a Machlokes and what's not a Machlokes. You don't see Rashi arguing with all the Rishonim. And that's it. And the Rishonim don't agree.
That's because Rashi was the granddaddy of all the Rishonim.
What do you say?
How do you expect it? Rashi was the grandfather of all the Rishonim. How on earth
I don't
do you
understand you.
expect
I'm
him
not
to argue?
copy you at all because all the Rishonim ask this kasha. Let me ask you, what's the kasha at all? The Gemara says it's a psul by Dav Makabel Tumah. Why are the Rishonim assuming it's a psul also by Mechuber? Where did they get that from? Why did the Rishonim ask the kasha? What are they assuming?
Well, that's what I asked you.
What?
That's what I asked you.
Oh, okay, good. Must be Muzain. What do you see from here? That they understood the Gemara was not saying a specific halacha when it comes to davar makabel tumah. It's a din of maimed. Anything that's possible l'schach would have the psul. The Gemara is talking about davar makabel tumah because that's what the Mishna is talking about. So the Gemara talked about that. But really, it's a din that applies to anything that's possible l'schach. You have a psul maimed. That's what you see from the Mishnah.
Okay, hold on. Can I tell you what you just did though? My issue now is that you just turned this instead of a halacha sukka, it's now a gzeira.
It's a gzeira.
It is a gzeira.
Why can't it be a gzeira? Yeah, according to Rashi holds it's not a gzeira, but
it's not how you find. It's not how you find the lashon of a gzeira in any other Gemara in Shas.
Why? What do you mean?
Every other gzeira.
I didn't see the Gemara. It's been a while since I've seen the Gemara. I just saw everybody starting talking about this. 1 second, the Gemara.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Where's the Gemara? Right? What is it? What's the valve, right?
Okay.
Valve?
No.
This is exactly what you're saying, that I'm handling out of the sugya. My time
Yep.
to plead where the patient you're saying it's a lashon. What would be the lashon of the Rabbana?
What's wrong? That means the usually with the halacha psuka, there's something wrong with doing something. The lashon is you tell me what is usher to do. With a gzeira, the Gemara, every single gzeira in Shas, you can't do X because this might happen.
Murdered.
Here, no such thing. There's always a reason for a halacha.
Fair enough. That's a separate question. What does that have to do with anything? That's a good question. With Rishonim, I'm obviously not bothered by, but it's a good question. What does that do?
No. I'm not asking to you. I don't think the Rishonim are learning this gzeira.
They say it's
a halacha.
Look at the Rifah.
What?
He says it's a gzeira, atu mishom. It's a gzeira, atu mishom. You're gonna come to go and be masach.
Oh, he uses the word gzeira?
He says the gzeira. Ayin sham, he says gzeira. Definitely. They clearly say it's a gzeira. Not like Rashi, because Rashi says the maker adin. Look at Rashi in the sugya. Rashi says.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Havi ki'ilu sichik whatever makabel tumah. Havi ki'ilu sichik. Azushne Rashi. And they said Rashi states maker adin. I'm just showing you from the Shana that they're not bothered by your question. Now, is that means I don't know how to learn? Kenzain, maybe I don't know how to learn. Kenzain,
I don't understand. I said from the beginning, I'm learning Gemara Rashi. You keep telling me Ritva. The Ritva learns is a different reason here.
But even in Gemara Rashi, I'm asking you for a svara why it should be dafka by davar makabel tumah. How do you know the Gemara literally means davar makabel tumah?
I couldn't care less. When you have a halacha, doesn't matter what the reason is. The halacha is the halacha.
Beautiful.
The halacha is davar makabel tumah. Not anything that's possible to schach. That's the halacha.
I'm asking you, how do you know that? Maybe the Gemara was just giving.
Because that's what the Gemara says. When you say a halacha, you say a halacha. You don't give me, oh, but this is the
We are getting
really means
nowhere.
something else.
We are getting
What?
absolutely nowhere.
I
We're
don't.
getting
Where else
nowhere.
did you see such a thing? It's
I
backwards
can't-
what
I
you're
can't
saying.
think, but I'm not bothered by where else we see such a
I
thing.
can tell you
Sure,
can't
figure out a lot
think.
of places. There's a lot of places.
This is
Gersh,
krum.
it's been a pleasure to speak to you. It's a schus and a kavod.
What a number.
I have to go.
I get the knock.
Yeshiva system today. This me. That's a shekel zach. Abeno, you speak again.
All right. Kol tov.
Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu v'shofteinu kumeinu nesiach
Gewaldig. Yashikayach.
b'techa.